delight of Deemsterhood, a wind from the wood to bond, like the bright lamp, the mamaha, year in out year in, auspiciously suspectable, but in expectancy of respectableness. From dirty flock bedding, drip dropping through the ceiling, the two sisters of charities on the front steps, and three generous talk, greeting us with garzel, uprighter of age and most embracive of yous all, under heaviest corpses exemption. And who was ever spitter and howsoever's fondling, saving her keepers, that mould the bowl she sold to hold the wine that wakes the barley, the peg in his pantry to hold the heavy ache off his pot. The droll delight of Deemsterhood, a wind from the wood to bond, like the bright lamp, the mamaha, year in out year in, auspiciously suspectable, but in expectancy of respectableness. From dirty flock bedding, drip dropping through the ceiling, the two sisters of charities on the front steps, and three evacuant cleansers at the back gaze, single box and pair of chairs, suspectable, occasionally and alternatively used by husband when having writing to do in connection with equitable druids and friendly or other societies through periods of dire want with comparative plenty, thunderburst, ravishment, dissolution, and providentiality. To a sofa albeit of horsepower with a modicum cloth, hired piano still playing off, used by the youngsters for churning out old strums, 3 bedrooms up stairs, of which one with fireplace, that's spectacle, with greenhouse and prospect, particularly perspectable. And you, when you kept it Dulby, were you always, for that time only, what we knew how, when we, from that point solely, were you know where? There you are. And why? Why, Hitchcock, he was snapped on the sly, up the daisy and chorus pearls out of the pie, when all the perts in Princess Street set up their tinkers hum, the ran that keen of old bards, with them Nunes boys piercing screaming off their arms worth. The boss made doves and braves out of his buckness, while herself wears the bowler's hat in her bath. Deductive Almain Rogers disguides his voice, shatters behind Hope's chestnut from excessive. Heat waves racing. They just keeps rosing. He jumps leaps rising. How long? You've known that, Tom? I certainly know. Is their band both ties? Certainly no. Has they been renamed? Certainly no. Does they ought to buy the fatal boy when he footles up their suit? He's their mark to foil the flouter, and they certainly owe. He spritting his back. He salted their bis puddin'. He tootled her palum, so calum is solemn. And he zooked their friends leave. Bonny glass, hair wheel. Guilty, but fellows culpable. It was felt by me sin dade, that submerged, dodotty, double-faced, told waterside labourers. That since we, for our home's health, have chanced all that, the wild whips, the wind ships, the wonder lost for world hips, under their foursquare trust, prayed in aid its plumpty lump pitchisness, which, when it turtled around seeking a pod of surf, spake to approach from inheard off trespass through minx mingled hair. Though I may have hawked it, said, and sell my hot peas after the actress calls from my imprecurious position, and though a chance I could have emptied a pan of backslop down brain by whiles of dodging a rear from the midden privet appurtenance thereof, salving the presence of the board of lumps and pumps, I am ever incapable, where release of prisoners properly is concerned, of unlifting up fallen girls, where endangered from them in their open out of unadulterous bowery, with those hindering influences from an angel's sexonism. It was merely my barely till their oath. Miss Saunders said, Neggy Guggy's gigag, the code's proof. The ribald danger, with they who would bear whiteness against me, I dismiss him from the mind of good. He can tell such a story to the 12th maligns, that my first was a nursemaid, and her fellow was a will-be perambulatrix. There are 20 to 22 thews, and leather mail coat schemes pen-pairing to host post, for it voluntarily, with my valued for favour to the post puzzles department, with large partials of presents for future branch officing. The Green approved the raid. Schaumbaum's body is a mustering in the grove, while his shule comes merging along. Once I put myself in their curtains, I were yearn to leap with them, and show me too my sex time. Dear, and lest I forget mergers and bow to you low marchers. Attention! What amazing month of buds and misses they are making, so wing to wish to flit before their kin. At Hunshaw, years to years, the scar of a Gaul, for every dime he opens that mouth you could park your ford in it. Who has paper treated him into captivity with his inside man by a hock sheet of starvision for an abrogate a piece of parchment, cooking up his lenses to be my apocryphs, the recruiter of his conscription. Let him be a servant to Kinnahan. For peace, perfect peace, I have awaited me in a water of Ailin, and I have placed my reeds in Tictus before the Regis Tower of the perception of tribute in the hall of the city of Ainlby. How concerns any merry aunt, and whosoever grave sobbers, it is parents sempre sex of fun to help and dazzle off the other. What for Musius and Gracius, may the Dublin rape the handsoms, and the whole mad nightmare's nest, ton, pother, prison and plotch. If why shouldn't somewhat well, I am able to owe it, hearth and chimney easy. They seek her for Branflow, all Wardens Merkins, I'll eager make list her on ponder arkin. That's that. And if my legitimate was well to rend tig-tag cackling about it, like the Sally bird she is to Abraham in the cutie strict, I shall call upon my first among my lost of lyras, beyond the jingo bangoist, to overcast her, dismissing Munda Manu all the riflings of her victuum greener, my old chuck, she drakes me druck, turning out gay at 90, and well shoving off a Boston mess like Lot's wives does over her hand-picked husband, as she would be calling, well, for further oil myrtles upon all her wayfarer gods, and re-announcing my debitories, as was I a locally person of caves until I got my purchase on her farm for hold, I am, I like to think, by their sacrilegion of Damon Cap Damon, confessedly, in my Baron Jontion, to the man you're born, till ladiest day, as Pampa Possifer, to have split for groom to peer of bellows like Dracula's shakes or rousing guttural at any old certain time by peaching, also we are not a musical, the worry worst against myself in the defile, as a liberatus of Episcopal of these Mispiciites of the first virginal water, who, without an auction of biasement from my part, with gladdest tone are quick yes in it, over how and under where, the totty lotty poppy flossy conny dolly mocking. Though I heave a coal on my back, and am cooed up to my ears, in same times I used all tides to be a swarmer for the meek stand the grace. You are not going to know. You might be three-abreasted, whole-nosing at a wall hoarding from our Donamere and Villaet's prostitution, precisingly Kushka's tariffs, and it could be double-densed on countless hour of all bleakest age, with a bad of wind and a baran of rain, numpus mentis like Novus Elector, what with his marks and their groups, yet did it out, should it dare, were to you, you would do and damp me, shank or dump you, skunk, and fare with me to share with me, hinter and bunter, hunt by hunt, by where davening shedders down whose rovely lay, as yours were and as ye is. Sure and you would, Mr. McGurk, be sure and you would, Mr. O'Dwayne, to be sure and you would so, Mr. McGilligan. What you nods? Mum. No mum has the rod to put a stop to the lurch of emotion. My little love apprentices, my dears, the Estelles, Van Nessis, Van Nixis, Wonderpool, which I had a real devotes for, yet was it Marley Louise, or just a field with ease, which older man KK always well he is showing off the full nights for my palm spread with gat or parsley sprig, the curious weedy old ocean coils around, so spruce a spice for salt horse sunnies, and as tear to the thrusty as Taylor spring, when after born, when she was looked like a little shea chilled, oh sword, ah ma, by my tide impressing, as Beecher saith, and all the colour is fair fled from my fault cheeks. Papa, where you can see me you may first gauge my bride. Wicked gapers, I appeal against the life and existence of dividends. Panto boys is on a looser in lot. Ballet girls supple in prawn pie. I have wanted to thank you such a long time, so much now. Thank you. Sir, kindest of bottle holders and very dear friend, among our hearts of steel, for aught I know, it will before you, me dare beautiful young soldier, winninger, nor any of your rudimental muscats, before you go to mass. You, who have watched your share with your softball sodalists on your bunt-head nogs, and our love tennis squats regatas, suck pump, when on with the balls did deserve the fame, my gold rush against her silver nets, to say, begig, for the love of goddess and Perthana as you reveres your one mother's mitch for match, and while I reveal thus my deep-seat daughter, which was born up pridely out of Ned's dreams unclouded, when I was pillowing in my brine, of Saturday eve, how now, warm wheat, to see, I say, ho, ho, in stay of execution, in re-milcho melachmans, incriminated, won't you feel, odd rabbit, upon every strong ground you have ever taken up, by bitter stiff work or batting staff play, with the salt of Turk against a barracravel of break shoots, e'en though Jambuel's difficulties is Terry Shimmy Rag's opportunity, if that is grace for the grass, what is balm for the bramblers, as it is, that I am the charismatic old ruffins, if has the game prophet, the seducent trovatellas, the dire daffy dame deaconesses, like wise sighs the sooty singers, the lilith soft, I said, and when boo-boo brutals and cautiouses only aims at the og hogs in the human, then outs blimey and tarnation, up curts and scotch 'em, I'll tall tell croon pay secures, so will nuggets and nippers, that dash on his stump and blows the gaff off ambition, and fit tides or mars makes a good day to be shot at. False stuff. His wrote in air half stiff was, and dong wang magunti till the bomb room of the war, thrushed in his whole sort of floose. Wish to wood in wheel, bays of Borshaw binding. The desire of Miriam is the despair of Marion, as Joe Joseph's beauty is Jack Jacob's grief. Brow, hell noon, eye, fain side, mouth, sing mim. Look at Lockman, what between the cup girls and the fatter boys, and he grew back into his grocery baseness, and for all his grand remonstrance, and there you are. Here endeth Cincinnatibus with half-speak finish, with a hague for halt on a pounce foot pants. Think, please think, to please think, how to please think. Punk. Mask 1, Mask 2, Mask 3, Mask 4. Up. Look about you, Tutty Common. Remember and recall, Collycraig. When visiting Dan Deary, try the corner house for tea. I'd give you credit for 7 more if you'd be limping. Our 4 avunculites. And since 3-story sorrow-telling was much too many, they maddened, and they morged, and they loomed, and they jowled. Synoptic on the word. Till the Duke done it. Down. Like Deucolion, the seagoer, when he bore down in his pay-boat, he had raised a slide and shipped his orders and seized his pullets and primed their plumages, the finling and doublet, the dun and the fire, and sending them one by other to fare forthorn, he had behold the residuance of a delusion. The foggy does, still going strong, the old thalassocrats of invincible empors, maskers of the water world, facing one way to another way and this way on that way from several of their 4 dimensions. Where the lining leaps from the numbulus, where cooled by cold, bride lieth languid, the bounds wherein born are solid bodies all at home that ain a rest. A point, that's all. But see what follows. Ringlings upon wronglings among incomputables about an uncommutable, an angel prophetess, King Coria of beasts, the caliph in his caliph skin, that eerie winging one, and the voids bubbly voidy dodos across the which the boomer mouths from their dupus dukes were in envy and anonymously blowing great. Guns. Keep backwards, please, because there was no good to Dundee running up again. Guns. And it was written up in big capital, guns, saying never underupt great-grand Gostafosters. Guns. And whatever one did, they said, the Forlings, there are no accounts you were not to. Guns. Not to pad them behaunt in the field. Not to go tunnel water and bungly well shoot the rising joinerant. Not to only be walking around Jerusalem do at small hours about the market plots, smelling oaky bony, this little figgy and arky bellicky, this little pinky porker, but porco dirtle, to let the gentleman pedesteroles out of the Mona Bella culturation live his own left leave, culle buone, by purple usual of the pet publicities, without invoking his also between, sick, the arky bone and sook, the oaky belloc. And not to not be always hammer and hammer, freeing themselves up with one exact, but not to never be caving nicely, precisely, quicely, robustly, tenderly, unremarkably, forsakenly, haltedly, reputedly, firstly, somewhatly, yes I knowly, about the back exit. Never to weaken up in place of the broths, never to whirl asleep in the peace of the goose. And other things, never to wait the sour beans if they weren't having anything on their conscience. And when in some schloss, the never knocks, cease till the finally ending was consummated by the completion of accomplishment. And thus, within the tavern's secret booth, the wise-height ones who sip the tested soup, bestir them as the justice bids the jab, the punch of quorum on the mug of truth. Casey jowls their sudden in the secret, Casey jowls they sure are wise, Casey jowls the juicest jobbers, for they find another faller if their roofs won't rise. Coolly the hooper. There is to see. Squarish large face with the atlas jacket, bright browny eyes in blue satin shoeings, peaky-booky nose over a Luciani shirt, rookie stackled hair beside the straw camel belt, namely, Gregorovich, Leonakopoulos, Tarpinacci, and double. And was they there all the time? Yea, but they was. And during the games, and during the studies, on daring the stories and all? Ned? Only snubbed then and cozied after one perceptive naught, while tough battle outraged the waywards and mean signs of their hinterhand supplies demands. And be they gone to Slane's vacation? That host that hast one on the hoose when back turns, when he face fronts, none in the house, his jest has guessed. You bet they is, and knows well done. With, however, what sublation of compensation in the ratification of interpretation by the byboys, being they, Mr. G.B.W. Ashburner, St. Bruno's Toboggan Drive, Mr. Fakes Good, Bell Chambers, Caroline Crescent, Mr. I. Chataway, Hilly Gate, Poplar Punk, Mr. Q.P. Dieudonné, The View, Gazy Pier, Mr. T.T. Archdeacon, Multiple Lodge, GFXB Road, Mr. W.K. Ferris Fender, Fort, Woeville Doon Bottom, on to whom adding, the tout that thumped the south, that linked the length that cold the sandy, that next door the rot, that rooked the rhyme, that laughed at the hoose, that jokes did. They had heard said written, Fidelis said, that their first a Roderick King comes to an inn court, and the site of that yard was a perchy pole with a luva on it. Last monarchs maketh man when one shift winneth woman. So how would it hum, O son of a witch, if some of as was the start to stump the story on? So many kneels to ponk out to as many noodles as our company, they noddling all about it tutti to tempo, decumans number 2, eh? Well, that the secretary bird, better known as Pandoria Paulabucker, whom they thought was more like a solicitor general, indiscriminatingly made belief made offer suggestions from Sharon the Fellman to write some words to senders about her chillikin puck, laughing that Poolbeck would be the death of her. B, that Madge's tide, the consulate audit lessee, when her dare modes of wronging, is